TMS group. Here is the group we have selected. Here are the tools we might use to act upon the group. So the group planner is a useful place to be. In here, we can get a breakdown of everybody we've got in that group, what work they have planned, what absence codes have occurred on specific days. As you can see, a lot of people aren't meant to be working in TMS as it stands at the moment because they're not clocking in and out. But you'll also notice that it's broken down, ordered by department as well. So at the moment, we're just looking at the space of a week from the 1st of Feb to the 7th of Feb. If I want to view more time in my group planner at any one go, I can do. That will affect the totals that we see running down the left here. So we can see this employee had 40 hours planned for that period of time, 36 hours delivered, 5 days planned worked. If I want to increase the period of time that I'm viewing here, we've got some options up here. And what we're looking for is period. And I could say, okay, I want to view this on a 2-weekly basis. And then we have all of a sudden, as of the 9th of February, a big chunk of people were expected to be clocking in and clocking out on the system. And there we can see the pending days where they weren't months, the days where they were actually clocking as working days there. And notice our totals have changed to consider the whole period of the newly selected range being 2 weeks, not a single week. Similarly, 4 weeks or a calendar month. You will find once you get to a certain stage, you have to start scrolling. So I generally find, how do we use single week if you're planning things on an ad hoc basis weekly? So what can we do in here? We can do everything in here that we just saw in the employee planner. We can just do it for multiple people easier. So this being the planner, we want to use this to plan for the future, not necessarily deal with the past. So if we just skip forward to a relevant date range where we don't see any yellow days anymore dealing with the past, and we're looking at blue days that haven't been processed yet, I might decide for whatever reason this Friday, everybody in the currently selected sub-department is going to have something different. There's going to be a different shift worked, for example. If I wanted to do that, I could quite easily just select one employee. I could go and change the shift for that day for that one employee. I'm not going to do this because this is your live system now. Once I've applied that change, I can select on the day and say copy period to. And we've got the rest of the employees. Anybody that I would like to also apply that to, I can add that to the list. Hit submit, and that saves you having to manually do it for every employee in the list. Where there are things like absences that are meant to apply to a whole the organisation as they fit into, example, bank holidays or company shutdowns, they will be planned by the admin users, Natalie mainly, I would have thought. So as you see, we can click on a day. We can drag shifts around should we want to move them to different days. Maybe somebody wants to work on the Saturday instead of the Friday. I could just drag my Friday shift over. I'm going to cancel here, but if I hit submit, that will remove the non-working day and replace it. And we can book an absence here as well. So whereas the group planner is generally used for planning work changes in the future, you don't have to go and get into your absence profile just to do something as simple as booking an absence for an employee. You can do that from here too. One thing that you'll see in quite a few pages, and it becomes a little bit more relevant here, is the settings cog in the top right. So as a user logging in, you've got the ability to tweak some of the views that you have. There may be absence codes that aren't relevant and you don't want to see them, so you remove them from the availability on there. Or maybe you want to have things sorted in a different order. Within the settings cog, there's a number of things that you can play with here. If we want to get a specific piece of information from the employee's records to show on here, if we take just, for example, department, I want to show their department or who their manager is in the department, hit submit. You'll then see it will state the department that each person belongs to there as well. I don't want that, so I'm going to remove it. The option to hide shifts away or non-working days or absences. You can play with your sort order here. And there is the ability to play around with your totals, but they have been set up to be relevant to the way the employees are working within the system. So I wouldn't encourage you to play around with anything sort of below the sort. Another thing you'll find on many pages, just next to the settings cog, is a reports button. We've got a number of reports in the system, and I'll show you how to get to the reports in their own right. But if you're looking at a page, some pages may be relevant to specific reports. So this will allow us to look at the reports that are relevant to this page and then get a copy of said report. Maybe I want to have a look at the roster. That's not a very good example because it's a blank roster for those employees. Oh, now I've lost my page. Where were we? Yes, we have a more relevant report, the shift planner report. It should, there we go, in an Excel format that I can actually use on my computer. And then you get a little Excel format of what's planned on those days. There we go, now I've got rid of the extra field. So here we can plan for all of the employees that report to us, or we can select for specific sub-departments.